All right, let's get started, Chris.
Okay, it's going to be quick tonight. There's a lot of things that are sort of in progress, and I'm waiting for responses on people. And rather than talk about all the responses, I think it's probably better to just sort of caption some of that stuff after the fact. The first thing we have is review and approval of our previous meeting minutes, which is going to be pending still because Kathy was not at our last meeting. She's not going to be at this meeting either. She's sick today. So we're going to have to go back and make those up some sort of way. So we don't have those to actually review, but that's our typical first item. So we're going to have to circle back to that one. Hopefully in a month or two, we'll just do a general summary off of the video. But I have the notes as to what's been done there, but we have nothing official to approve for that. So that's number one. Number two is our front projection sign. The current status on the sign is it's going to be hung up most likely next week. We went last week to do it, or maybe it was the week before. And I went down there. We had some issues with wiring because the sign guy and the electrical people, they're not the same, but they kind of meet together. So as the project manager, I have to sort of bridge that and make sure that we get that together. So I had the town electrician down. And he took a look at what we were doing, and just I had him down with the guy with the bucket truck to look at how we're going to get into the building. And we did a lot of electrical conversations, which aren't necessarily important for this meeting, but we went through some details and figured out some things. As it turns out, well, I guess the important part is there's a certain way that it needs to be done correctly, and the town electrician basically doesn't have time for that. And so what they had advised me to do, and I'm happy to do it, to be honest with you, is since we have an electrical bid out right now for the lights and in that topic, what I did is I got the electrical contractor on the phone, talked to him and the architect, and I had him meet me down there, and I showed him where our connections for the sign were going to come in and what we needed, which we need like a photo cell for it to turn on when it gets dark. And then we need a timer for it to turn off at 11 o'clock to be in with our permit. And so the way that the wiring goes, it goes straight into the side of the building. There were some discussions of some alternative ways, which didn't seem to make sense once I talked to the town's electrical contractor. So what I did there was I just talked to him because we're pretty far down the road of having our electrical stuff together for other projects. So I had him come down, I showed him where the sign was going to go in, and I asked him to add that one line to light up the sign into the other electrical project because we're going to be doing what they call home run lines to the box with the other project. And so this is just one more switch. And so I talked to him, he doesn't have a problem with it. So he's going to add the power to the sign is going to go in with our lighting power that bid that's coming up. So the sign likely will be installed. Hey, Doug. The sign likely will be installed next week. As far as getting power to the lights and that component of it, that's going to take a little bit longer because that's going in with the other bid, and that's going in with the bid for the electrical work for the lighting stuff. So we'll have a sign. It'll be up. It'll be installed. The lights will be there. The wires will be run into the building. As far as getting that last connection and getting the photo cell and the timer on it, that's going to take a little bit longer. So the sign won't be lit up maybe for another month or two until we have those folks in there. But we had the guy came down with the bucket truck, and he went up on the side of the building, and we tapped on the building and, looked at where things were going to come in and how that was going to work. So he did that. They had talked about doing it this week. I have a super busy week this week, so I'm not really available at the drop of a hat like I normally am. So I believe the sign will be installed next week with the wires going through into the building. And then the electrical portion of the sign will take another month or two. But the sign, I mean, the big change of the sign being strapped in, and we looked at how is it going to get on the building, and how's it, going to go in, and bucket trucks and everything a little kid with the construction kit wants to see.
Can I come out here for a minute?
Yeah.
So you're not available, but what are they looking for?
So I'm not available this week. So what happened was
Right,
when they
but
called
like
me,
maybe one of us would be available.
it's not really a concern just because it was really just
Okay.
this
Oh,
week.
continue then. I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, like, I'm available after 2:30 to
Yeah.
do.
Well, like what happened was when they called me to do the initial specs, like I got a call at 4:30 in the afternoon saying, can you be there at 9 a.m. tomorrow? And I could, so I did. I had to rearrange my life, but I did, and I got there. And so then, it was last week we were going to do it, and then I messaged them on Friday, and I said, listen, I have a really busy week. You can't call me the night before. It's not because you can. I might have to hang out there all day. Anyways, probably next week. So probably next week the sign will be installed, just not the wiring part, but everything will be ready to go. Does anybody have any questions on that? No? Doug?
So do you
I can't
need,
hear you, Doug.
but do you need anybody
nothing.
else to be there?
Oh, no, we're good.
Okay, because
We're good.
we're a team here.
Yeah, absolutely. Typically what happens is they, like I said, they gave me really short notice the last time. And so I just let them know that really short notice wouldn't work this week. And so I'm guessing it's going to be next week. I'll talk to Bob tomorrow or the next day, and we'll try to get a handle on which day it's going to be. I don't expect it to be too bad. The other thing that came up when we were doing that was they're doing work on Albion Street. So for 3 days,
Oh, are they ever?
for 3 days, they had the parking spots blocked off. Not that they have to notify us, but they had, police, the exact spot where the bucket truck would have to be. There was a front end loader parked for a couple days. So anyhow, I don't anticipate any big problems. It's just it's rudimentary stuff. We'll get it done. No questions on the front projection side and beyond. It's going to go up in the next couple weeks. I don't see any. I see Joyce seasoning the meat. Okay. Building maintenance, we had additional alarm problems. We had a couple tours where the alarm went off, and of course, as soon as the tour was over, the alarm stopped going off. So there's some issues still with the alarm system. It hasn't gone off the last 4 or 5 times that I've been there, but I did put in a request with DPW to have them come back and look at it. I don't consider it 100% fixed. I'm hoping that we can get some more maintenance in there. I haven't gotten an update on that, but just to be aware that we solved some alarm problems, and it seems as if we have a couple more alarm problems coming up.
And we do have problems. And I was actually meeting with, I had a meeting at the Cultural Exchange with Erin from Town Hall, and the electrician came in, and I said, oh, I'm glad you're here because it seems like whenever I'm here, that beeping starts happening. So it's good timing. And he was like, well, we're working on it. We're trying to get to the bottom of it. But yeah.
Was that recently?
Like 3 weeks ago,
Okay.
2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like, of course, usually when he shows up, it's nothing's wrong.
Right. But the box was locked. And so I couldn't, because you showed me how to reset it.
Yeah, override it.
And the box was locked. And I said to him, so the box is locked. So now, and he said, I don't remember what he said, that someone has the key or whatever. So now we're kind of at the mercy of whoever has that key.
Agreed.
With
And
the thing.
like my feeling is it hasn't been persistent enough for me to like let it rise to the top. But my feeling is, as there's lots of other projects going on, let's try to get through those. There's definitely, I've recorded the times that it's been a problem and I have them logged. And I sent in requests for the alarm company to come and look at it with the timestamps and with videos and emails into people. It hasn't happened in the last week or two that I've been there, but like I said, it's happening and there needs to be more done there. So I've got the log on. The alarm company, I think, has been notified.
But the key is gone, is my point. So when I'm
Oh.
there and it's beeping, I can't shut it off because the key's gone.
Right. So I can ask, as it comes up, if I think the conversation is going to be, and I've been just being judicious with my conversations because there's so many things going on right now, that I'm going to ask them to unlock that door so that if it does come on, we can hit the override. The show, we've got the show in there for another month or so. So again, it's just really a matter of priorities. I probably have 15 things from the DPW that I've been looking for responses on, and they haven't really responded on much. And so I'm trying to take my top priority items right now. The top priority item is to get that sign on the building, and then I'll move to the next highest priority. I think what they'll tell me if I talk to them is that they called the alarm company and they said they couldn't be here for several weeks. I'll have to keep tabs on it because nobody else is. Are you there? I saw your mouth move, but I didn't hear you.
Well, I needed to unmute. I don't want you to hear my chicken sizzling in the pan. I apologize. I had a late meeting, and so now I'm cooking dinner, and I'm stuck here. But okay, so welcome to my kitchen. But what I'm going to say is that maybe you could have some help here. Maybe maybe I could help you with dealing with the things that are happening.
Okay.
I'm offering you my help is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Definitely much more lengthy conversations that I don't think are imperative to a recorded meeting to be had as to how things are happening.
Right.
They're on the list though. The alarm stuff is logged. It's on the list. We have just several other items, that we'll hit tonight and go
Right,
over,
let's
but
move
I'll
on.
accept help. I'll definitely accept help.
Okay.
For sure. So any more comments on the alarm from anyone? Okay. So the lighting and lighting and ceiling painting project, I sent out some diagrams and documentation. The architect has updated the documentation. We worked on we're working on where the controls are going to go. And so right now, we have got the spec sheets for the lights, including the LED lights in the front, the pendant lights in the front foyer, the spotlights, all those cut sheets I sent to everybody. So if anybody has any questions on that, let me know. I've spent a lot of time talking about color, the light color, and we've touched on this before, which is the Kelvin rating. We're currently spec'd out at 3,500 Kelvin, which was for our main flood lighting, which is considered a neutral daytime light. It's not considered a sunlight. I've been driving myself crazy with analysis paralysis, and I've asked anybody that'll listen to me about whether they think it's too hot or not. I have some people that say that we should be around 3,000 in our light color. I talked to a bunch of people online. I talked to Jonathan at the high school here, asked him his favorite light colors, a bunch of other people I felt would be in the know. And I even contacted the company that does our hanging system. And I said to them that, our lights that we're doing are spec'd out at 3,500K. Do you think that's too hot, or do you think that's okay? Some people say I should be at 3,000. And their response to me was, we sell lights at 4,100 and we sell lights at 3,000, which is kind of not useful, except for the fact that it's humorous because our number's right in the middle. So they said they sell some that are brighter and they sell some that are lighter. And actually talking to Perez there, I went back and forth with him and told him that, what do you think? Our architect says 35 is okay. I just don't want to make a bad decision here. He said he thought 32 was the number. I went back to the architect and I just said, listen, I don't want to be a total pain, but I really want to make sure I get this right. And he said, in a month, you won't even remember that you were pestering me about this. He said, it's completely okay. We're right at the right number. And then he said, but as an extra sense of comfort, we're going to have dimmers on all these lights. So for some reason, I feel it's too bright. He said, we're going to be able to control our intensity. And he said, just stick it up to 80% and you'll be at the place that you want to be. But he doesn't think there's going to be any issues.
I need to tell you that if Jonathan Barris tells you what you should have your lighting at,
Yeah.
that's what you should do. Stop doing research because that dude
To that, to
knows lighting. If you're
which,
talking about sound, we go to Constantine. If you go to lighting, it's Barris. And so whatever he says, stop wasting your time and doing all your stuff. Go with what he says.
so what happened was I talked to him, we went back and forth, and then I talked to the architect, and then he gave me the tip about the dimmers and how I was in the range and it wasn't going to be a big deal. And then I went back to Jonathan and I said, I thought, the same stuff. I want to get it right. I talked to the architect and he said, if we have the dimmers and we do it like this, it's a non-issue. And he responded back, yeah, I agree. It's a non-issue. So I did it. Anyways, but I beat the hell out of it because I wanted to make sure we got it right. I mean, there's just too much work involved to not beat the hell out of it. And he agreed with the architect that considering that we have dimmers, it's not a big deal. I wasn't super uncomfortable until of course I got not super uncomfortable with it. Then I started waking up in the middle of the night thinking about it. But I think we're good. So we were updating the maps for the electrician because the big thing is like where the lights and where the light switch is going to be. And so we're still drilling out a little bit of that, but the main gallery light switches, I believe we're going to come off the wall in the gallery and they're going to end up in the back room. And so that way, like if we're having an event, somebody can't just flip the switch and put the place in darkness. So we're going to have dimmers in the back room. That's where the controls are going to be. So the front lights will have lighting controls, I believe, by the door. But when you go into the main gallery, all of that stuff will be separated out by the main lights and the spotlights, and all the controls will be in the back room. And so we're just updating the pictures on that. In addition, something else that I asked, so I added to this lighting estimate the front sign lighting, which is the photo cell plus the timer to make sure it goes off. So I added that into the lighting project bid. Since they're going to be ripping apart and doing all the electrical work, it only really makes sense that they would do that at the same time. It's literally just another switch. So not a big deal. And then I thought about it more and I went back to them and I don't have the drawing for this yet, but I also asked them to put a light on the back door on the outside. Because even though we're going to do stuff there in the future with the accessibility when we get past this stuff, it's pitch black out there. You come in and out of there all the time. So we need a light back there. So I asked them to add another line out to the back door and and just some sort of basic commercial fixture to be over the back door versus being pitch black, as it is now. Again, a super minor change, but makes total sense to do right now since we're doing 10 other lines. Adding one or two is not a big deal when we have this much on the table. Does anybody have any questions on the lighting diagrams, any of the cut sheets that I sent, or anything to that degree? Seeing nothing, no questions, Doug?
Well, actually, it's hard to weigh in on something like that because I feel like I'm not really a part of it. But okay, yeah, if you and the architect are good with it, then I am too.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I looked at the diagram and I don't know about lighting. You know what I mean? So I'm trusting that it's moving along the way that it should.
Yeah, basically it's all the lights that we've talked about before.
Yeah.
The key decisions were like figuring out the color. I made a point to be like, hey, do we have all the right colors?
Yep.
And it appears as if we did. I added the sign and I added a light to the back, and we're getting all that together. And that's what's happened there.
All right, so that's great.
So that's lighting, ceiling, fixtures, wiring. So at some point, once we finalize our diagrams a little bit, we should have an estimate. And I talked to the electrical contractor, and he said that he thinks it's going to take 2 weeks to do all the wiring once we engage. So, and then I got to figure out lead times and that sort of stuff. But we're almost there. I'm hoping we get there soon. Flooring project number 5 is the next one. We've got, I have test results and install estimates So we've been doing some testing for asbestos. It was a little bit of a frustration point for me. Just because asbestos is like a dirty word, and I'm not really scared about it. We had asbestos issues when we did the bathrooms. It's just the way that people deal with asbestos, DPW, just the terminology I find extremely frustrating. Just because when we have meetings about things, they throw the term asbestos out there kind of like a terrorist. And the bottom line is, whatever, it's an old building. If you go looking for it, you're going to find it. And that's okay. We do these tests, we get them back. We did this before. And then there's a remediation type thing where they say you have this or you don't have this. Chances are you're going to have some, and then you pay somebody to just clean it up. And hopefully that cleanup isn't that expensive. In some of the meetings, like I said, just the way that it's been handled hasn't really been impressive to me. I guess is the best way to say it politely, just in that it gets thrown out there, like the boogie monster, with no follow-up conversation of, and here's what we're going to do about it. So I got one of those emails on Monday, which I found very frustrating. And I'll just leave it there. We had some testing done, and I was frustrated on Monday because I asked 5 times in the last 2 weeks for the test results, and I got nothing. And then on Monday, I got the test results back, and they've had them since St. Patrick's Day. That was frustrating. And then I read the report, and they said, "Oh, geez, you have asbestos. Tell us what you want to do." And then I read the report, which if you don't read these reports every day, they don't make any sense to the common person. But I really tried, and I went through and I read the report. I had a few other people read the report. I had the architect read the report. And it says, like, in one area out of 5 tested, we have like 1% asbestos, and it didn't recommend any action. That's my read of it, because I'm not going looking for trouble. I appreciate that we have to test for these things, but this is why I said there's a little bit of frustration. I'm going to hopefully work through that next week.
So who else did you have look at the report, though?
I had the architect look at the report. I looked at the report, and I sent it out to another architect to look at the report. What I'm going to say about the reports and about this topic is I don't really want to talk more about it on this meeting because there's too many unknowns. And like I said, I'm frustrated because I feel as if the information presented to me was inadequate. But I have a busy week, so I'm going to need to drill into this more before I can really speak to it. Like I said, I'm just frustrated because the reports are weeks late, no response. And then I read the report, and it doesn't seem that damning. That's why I say people use this term asbestos. And I got a thing of like, hey, there was asbestos detected. What do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. What am I supposed to do? Cry and run to the end of the street and scream? I mean, really, what I want to hear is...
You're not supposed to do that, but it's a serious thing.
Agreed. But okay. I read the report. But what I'm saying is the process for this,
okay,
because we had it before, is they identify it. They're going to find it. That doesn't shock me. But really what I need from the professionals that we're working with is more than they found asbestos, what do you want to do? I need to hear, they found asbestos, here are your options. Because we're going to find it. And so that's why, again, I don't want to go in too much detail, but basically we have like the report, and I can send it off to you, says that we have like 1%. And I talked to the architect, and I talked to actually the tile installer. Very rudimentary stuff. Like I said, I need to dig more into it next week. Like what happens in certain cases, because we're under 10%, which basically indicated from the testing company that no action was required. We had like 1% on one thing. And then what they do in those cases a lot of times is they use a filler or some sort of other product, but they have a remediation that's not a super complicated thing. Hey, and then they just put that over it. So I don't think it's a big deal, but I need to get the word back from people who are experts in this line of thinking as to what the options are. So we did some asbestos testing. We found some asbestos. There'll be a remediation process, and and we'll move forward. I just wish I had more information about the remediation process, which I feel that certain people are the ones to make that call. but I'm going to chase down what that remediation process is. I don't think it's a big deal. I hope it's not a big deal. But like I said, I would appreciate actually if some of the people would just be a little more caring in delivering information. Like I said, you've got asbestos. What do you want to do? And the options are, what do we need to do? What do we have to do to be compliant? What do we have to do it the right way? I would hope that information came to me. It didn't, but I will find out that information and find out what my response was. We want to move forward with our projects with the least amount of cost impact. That's what we want to do. And so hopefully, I'll get that information next week. Does anybody have any questions about, and then the other thing about that was I know that we tested the back room with the raised floor where the computer used to be, and that raised floor has tiles on it. And I was very specific when we talked about doing the testing that we didn't plan on doing anything in the back room because we know that has asbestos. So if that particular piece has asbestos and it's not even close to critical we weren't even going to include it. So if the little 1% piece that we have is in a part of the project that is of really no consequence, we just need to move on. If it's something that we need to deal with, that's okay too. We just need more information as to how to deal with it. Does that make sense? Yeah, Joy's smiling. So they took some samples. There's very, very trace amounts, less than 1%. Some sort of remediation has to happen. I'll find out that information next week. Good. I'm looking around. Everybody's good. Okay. I don't think we have any website updates, right, Doug?
Nope, no updates.
Okay. So that's just a standing item that was on there.
Well, I just want to say that the website is still awesome. Thank you, Doug.
Sure. Chris did a lot of work too, so.
Yep. Thank you, Chris, but
No
thank you, Doug. Still awesome.
Still awesome.
I think it's way better. And, as we transition to some new stuff, when the show's not the primary item, we'll have to make over the homepage. But I think it's, in a really good shape that it'll just take an hour or two and we'll put something else up there and we'll archive this information and keep going. So number 7 is current events review. We've got the show going. The show's been fairly well attended, 3 to 5 days a week. I've had appointments of people booking to come in. So that's been good. We've got more people coming in and I'm working on scheduling stuff. I've talked to Joy about some scheduling stuff to see where we're at and see potentially when vendors are coming in, when other shows might happen. And based on those results, we'll figure out where we're going to go. I'm not, depending on when things are going to happen, the show's listed to go till the end of April. I'm not like super excited to go in and rip the whole show down because, we spent a lot of time getting that set up. And so, I think we'll keep doing viewings, and then based on Joy's needs and the needs of the electrical people and the floor people and when things can be timed, we'll figure out when that's going to happen so that I can give people proper notice to take their stuff down. And we can also prepare the gallery for when construction happens, because we know when construction happens, things get a little crazy, things get a little messy. We have to lock things down. Likely we have to take things like our vacuum cleaner and potentially some other stuff, and they either need to be locked or they need to be brought upstairs where they can't be messed with. We lost several vacuum cleaners during the last construction phase, and we just need to make sure that we batten down the hatches adequately so that when contractors start coming in and out of there, bad things don't happen. So, but the show's doing well. We also are on, let's see here. We have, let's see, count it, 1. Here's the Joy one, 2, 3 front pages. So press-wise, we're doing great. We had an op-ed piece last month as well that talked about what we're doing being good. So that's good stuff. And we made the front page. Everybody seems to know about it. And like I said, we'll keep the show going till the end of the month, and depending on other schedules, maybe it'll go a little bit longer. I know a lot of people, John O'Brien and Eric especially, have things that they want to sell that they have up there that they haven't got a lot of press on that. So potentially we'll do something like just maybe talk a little bit more about some of the stuff that's for sale as the show comes to its last 2 weeks or last 2 or 3 weeks. If we don't have something else going in right away with the high school show and the contractors aren't lined up, maybe I'll advertise a bonus 2 weeks or something, and we'll talk about selling some of the pieces, especially some of the Wakefield pictures that John has done specifically. I know that people will want, so that's a good thing. There's also another article that's going to come out. That's going to be a wrap-up article, and I haven't talked to the newspaper about that. Probably next week I'll talk to them about that and what will happen in that case. I think in that one we're going to talk about, we're going to thank again the savings bank for being a good sport and being the first one to give us some money to believe in this and to give us PPE, which was much more important when we were first pitching this idea. It's a little bit less concerning now with vaccinations and stuff coming out a few months later. We'll also include some press for the Garden Club, Remedy Exchange, which had their stuff up there. So those are sort of the 3 people that weren't in there. And we'll also, I believe they said they want to ask some questions about some of the stuff that we're going to be doing moving forward, which includes renovations and that sort of thing. So as we have a little more clarity on that, I'll get them that. But basically, I think we'll have another, might not be a front page, but a closing out article on everything that's going on now. Also, next Thursday, I'm going to have Kevin Moore in there, and he's going to actually go live and play acoustic music in the gallery. And so this isn't going to be an attendance thing. This is going to be a virtual thing. So I talked to him. We were actually going to do it tomorrow, but due to my schedule, I had to change it. And so I talked to him and just about this thing that I'd mentioned before, like the Go Live music series, where we have people go live in the gallery and use that as a digital asset for awareness. And so to just try out doing it a couple times. So I talked to him, he agreed to do it. And then I suggested a couple specific songs for him. And so one of the songs was She's a Rainbow by the Rolling Stones. And so I was hoping that, and I'm not sure if he's learning these. I think he is. He might do some of his stock material, but I also told him it's not going to be like, it's not like a full-on concert. It's like maybe 1 to 3 songs. We're just going to go live with it in front of a wall, like Anne Marie's wall or Jamie's wall, perhaps, or both. So I suggested She's a Rainbow by the Rolling Stones, which came up in some other research I was doing. I just figured it sort of female artist and, just played in with the whole idea of color and that sort of thing. So if he does that, that'd be really cool. And then there's, I think another song I suggested to him was, I think it's called She Belongs to Me, but the main line in it is she's an artist and she doesn't look back or something to that effect. That's a Bob Dylan song. And so I suggested those 2 songs as songs that might be good to go live from the gallery with. And so we're going to try that out next Thursday night and see what happens. Does anybody have any questions on that? If anybody knows any musicians that might be also interested in doing this whole kind of go live concept, which basically is just, we go there and we're using camera phones. We're not getting complicated about it. We're not doing heavy production. It's just, we're going live and just, hey, we're going live from the Albion Cultural Exchange. Boom, here's 4 minutes. And it happens to be in front of an interesting wall at our gallery. I think it'll work out okay. I'd love to bring more people in to do that kind of stuff, but this is just the incubator, see how it works. All right, so that's current events, number 7. And so future building schedule, like I said, we're working on electricians getting in there. We have to finalize some estimates, and then I'm sure there'll be lead times. I'm waiting for floor people, same thing, estimates, lead times, any remediation that we have to do to try to get that stuff together. I should have that info hopefully soon enough. And then
so
Joy, this is your part.
Dates moving forward?
What's that?
Do you have any dates moving forward?
For which?
for anything, because I'm willing to forego the June show if that meant that a contractor was going to be in there to do the deal.
So I don't have those dates, and that's what I'll be doing next week, which is why I was pushing you on the dates, because the electrician, I see them as they're going to most likely be the first people to get in there.
Yeah.
And so that's like almost there. And so within a couple days of drawings and some numbers coming back to us, I'll be at the point where I'm saying to them, okay, great, let's do it. And what's the lead time required? And I expect them to give me a date regarding floors and other stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's going to take longer.
But I don't want like what I think might be a show that we're going to have to block up any contractor or any work that's going to be done in the building, is what I'm telling you. Because I've already been told that I don't think that the AP show isn't going to happen. Okay, so that's out. Much to my dismay, but okay, you roll with it. Like, there's many disappointments this year. Wait. So there's many disappointments so for my second show, if you tell me that if you have someone who wants to come in here and work, I will forego the show and we'll do it at the high school library.
Right. And that's exactly where I'm at, which is why I've been communicating hard with you, saying, give me dates, give me dates, give me dates.
I'm moving. I'm giving you a tour of my house. I'm moving again. Dinner's on hold. Okay, go ahead.
So next week, when I have the opportunity to really chase people down as far as wiring goes and dates and that kind of stuff, I should hopefully have that stuff. And now that I have your position on those shows happening or not happening, that gives me the opportunity to make those decisions and make those schedules.
Okay.
Okay, so as far as other future dates for things, I have a list here on the agenda, and these are just ideas of timeframes. I think that this show being done for a couple months with this private tour experience, I would say that I'd call it a success in that people like it. We're going to this always on gallery mode where when we set stuff up, we're going to set it up for longer. So ideally, at the beginning of the summer here, we'll get these contractors in, we'll do stuff, and then we'll have to clean up and set up. But I would imagine once we break this show down and we have contractors in there, our next show most likely wouldn't be until September. But we'll get them through. And as soon as we get through, the multiple things that we have, which could take a long time between lights and painting and floors and remediation and things like that, we'd get ready to do something. And I think the Arts Collaborative was talking about something potentially too for the fall. But as soon as the contractors go through and finish their work, as soon as we have the green light for there, we'll go back and we'll have to reset the gallery. And that'll probably take a couple of weeks, even if we have a show, just to clean up. I mean, remember what happened last time? The cleanup's a lot. There'll be dust on everything. Everything will need to be wiped down. We'll need to take everything when we break down this show, and we'll need to make sure it's in a safe place. But as soon as those contractors are in and done, even if it's not an Arts Collaborative show, I feel that we'll take our house art collection and anything else that we have, and we will set ourselves back up so that we look functioning, even if it's not a new show. We have enough house materials to do that.
At the last Arts Collaborative meeting, we discussed having a show in the fall.
Right.
And I
talking
think
about the canvas sizes and all that.
Yeah,
was it
I
a
think
small
it was.
Canvas show.
Oh, you were there. Yeah. Square is what we decided on. It's a square canvas. So it's either like two sizes and whatever. And I think we discussed October was what I think it was, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's, there's getting the construction stuff done, and the sign. I mean, we're getting to the point where a whole bunch of stuff's going to happen. So if that all gets done and we get everything set back up, I'm going to need to take a nap for like 3 months because it's a lot of work. But yeah, I think whatever happens, it's going to be great because next week we're going to have a sign, and shortly thereafter we're going to have a lit up sign, and hopefully shortly thereafter we're going to have all new lighting and floors and that sort of stuff. It's April now, April, May, June, July, August. I mean, that gives us 4 months to do that stuff. If we're done early, we'll put up the house collection back. I mean, as soon as we get this stuff done, we open back up, by appointment only. Same sort of thing. And then for the square show, right? Is it going to be called the Square Canvas Show? Joy?
Yeah, I just had to find my unmute. I'm not sure what it's going to be called. I'm thinking we can come up with something better than the Square Show, but maybe we can't. I'm not sure.
And we could also, if the go live stuff next week and any other go lives that may happen, if that does well, there's also the possibility that we could have some more people in there doing go lives, and again, not come see the performance. More, I'm thinking more like
Watch
one or
it.
two guys, just going live acoustic, and just it's a digital asset. There's some other stuff here which I don't think we necessarily need to talk about. We've talked about the idea of doing another lake show and that's a good idea. We've talked about the idea of having a spot for green screen or interviews on site. That's something that once we get through the stuff that we have on our table, we can then look at that in a more serious way as to where that could actually happen. So that's it for future events review. Unless does anybody have any questions or input?
I'm just going to say that if you need some help with dealing with what's happening, scheduling people coming in, I mean, I am available. I do have a job, but I can help out.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think definitely, that's needed. Right now, it's just the frustration is just not getting information back, and I try not to pester people more than required. But again, frustrating that when I asked 4 times or more in the last 2 weeks of March for the asbestos report, I didn't get it, and I got it on Monday, and it was dated March 17th. That's outside of business acceptable. But I'm hoping that when I talk to them, it's just a minor little bump, and and I can find out what the translation is and what that means to our schedule. The electrical contractor's doing good. I'm essentially doing all the project management on this, and really just asking DPW if there's anything that's holding us back, and that's really where I'm trying to get the responses on certain things. But I think, hopefully we'll get that info. Hopefully this asbestos stuff isn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal last time. It was really just scheduling something. So we'll get that stuff together. Our sign's going on next week, so that's great. The sign will be up there, and that'll be a game
What's the date on
changer.
that? And do we have anybody who's going to take a photo of that happening?
I don't have a date on that, and we don't have anybody scheduled to take a photo beyond myself.
Share the date, because I think that's pretty important.
Right, that's
Share
the
the
thing.
date with us.
Well, see, that's the thing, is getting dates out of people. Like I said, I got
But when
called.
you find out what it is, just tell us what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
one of us should be able to get down there to take a picture.
Take some pictures,
Right. Well, I mean, I'll be there because that's how it happens. I open the door and I'm gonna, be there. I mean, I'll definitely. I'm not hiding it. I just getting the dates has been challenging. Like I said, I got called at 4:30 in the afternoon the last time for 9 a.m. the next day. And then I told them on Friday of last week, when they said it would be sometime this week, that this week was out because I'm not available. And they didn't know if they were going to, it's a lot of moving.
When you get the date, just tell us what it is. I'd like to come down with my camera.
Got it.
I mean, I'm interested.
No, absolutely. When I get the date, I mean, I'm going to send it off to everybody. As soon as I know, I'll fire off an email to everybody and say, hey, they said they're going to be there tomorrow. That doesn't mean they'll be there, but I'll let you know.
We all understand the disappointments that happen with working with the municipal government. We all understand, or maybe we don't, but I have a good understanding of the disappointments that happen. I'm just saying you can share the load.
Absolutely. And as soon as I find out the date, I'll give it to everybody.
Okay, great.
Number 9, we have the Artist Challenge contest. I have too much going on to actually talk about this right now, but I'm happy if anybody wants to talk about it. We had talked about the idea of doing some artist challenges in the past. I'm keeping it on the schedule because I think it's a great idea. Maybe it's something for the summer. We had talked about challenging people to draw pictures, paint pictures, take pictures, do mixed media of various areas of town, various town buildings. One of the ones that we had talked about, which is possible once the sign's installed, is once we have our sign installed, maybe we should have an artist challenge and have people draw pictures of the building, have people take photographs of the building, and then display those sometime in the fall.
It's a handsome building.
And with the new sign.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great way to do it.
So let's talk about that the next time.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything to say about the artist challenge, or just next time we're good? Okay.
Next time we're good.
Go through committee reappointments and recommendations. That happens, I believe, at the next town council meeting, right, Jonathan?
I'm not sure if it's the next one or the one after, but it should happen this month.
So that's going to happen this month. I sent in, and I believe I sent everybody a copy of the recommendation letter that went in. And we recommended Anne Marie. We recommended Tracy Shea, who applied. We recommended for reappointment myself. Who were the other two? Kathy. And that was it. Wait, and
By 1 day delay, and then I'm not even on the list. I'm not on the committee.
You're on the list last. Well, your reappointment's not this year.
Okay, so I'm all by myself in my reappointment, or what? All right, never mind.
I think I'm
with you,
Joy.
Okay, so
It's every
we're
3
together.
years, right?
Yeah, it's every 3 years. Like we talked about, Doug's came in like 12 hours late. I talked to Sherry. We
Doug.
went through. Bad Doug. So I just put in a note, and we acknowledged that it was a couple hours late, and apologized profusely, and just basically said that we'd like to recommend everybody for reappointment, and that we think everybody's important. So that went in. So I don't anticipate any issues there. I expect everybody to get reappointed, and I don't see that there's any reason why anybody wouldn't. Does anybody have any comments on that at all, other than when's your reappointment date and that kind of thing? If you go to the website, things have been updated the last couple of years as they've been changing this. If you go, you can see the term expiration dates next to people's names now. That used to not be there. Now it's there.
Actually, the last time I went to the website, I wasn't even on there. But okay, I'm all right with it, but I wasn't even listed as a member.
But you are now, right?
I didn't think so. But you know what? Don't check it now. It's okay. I'm okay with it.
Put it on the list.
I was going to say, Joy, I did check it now, and you are on the page.
I am on the page
Yep.
now? Okay.
Joy, maybe you need to reboot your machine.
Maybe, or maybe I need to, I had to write a resume. I did that. It was,
Get
it
2
was
more
a
years,
book-
don't worry about it.
I have a resume now. Okay,
That's about it.
excellent.
Unanticipated topics. Does anybody have anything that they want to talk about that we haven't covered, or any previous items that you forgot to mention something that you want to go back to?
Chris, can I just mention one quick thing? So, or actually, I guess two quick things. One is that as sort of money has kind of been coming through, from the federal government and the state government in the form of grant opportunities, some related to COVID and so forth. We are as a town looking at projects that we could potentially get grant support for, including, the elevator project and other improvements at the ACE building. So just want to give people a heads up that that's something that, as a town, we're looking into to figure out if there are some other sources of funding that we could bring to bear for some of the great work that you guys are doing. The other piece of that is because the legislature right now at the state level is working on their budget. This is the period of time when we typically ask for consideration of certain earmark opportunities in town. And we have, as we have for the last few years, kind of requested money for, again, some of the improvements being made for the ACE building through that process. There's obviously no guarantee that that will come through. The legislative delegation's been pretty clear that this is kind of a tight budget year for the state. And so the ability to kind of get funding for project work like this is pretty limited. But I just wanted to make sure as a board that you guys are aware that, those are some opportunities that we've been pushing for, with the state delegation, just to see if we can leverage some of that to support the building.
Awesome. Yeah, we definitely could use more money for many of these other things. But I think that we're, I'm excited about these projects, albeit a little frustrated, but I'm excited about the fact that, they're happening, there's a sign happening, and that we know how to do the process now, and any bumps in the road are small ones.
And flooring and lighting. That's going to be amazing.
I agree. I think it's going to look great. And I think
that
it
ratty
already
rug,
looks great. So as we get ready to do these things, that's why I say I look at it and I'm like, I'm not like all excited to rip things down, right away. I mean, we're going to do it, but it's just, it's that whole thing of you put in a lot of work to get to where you're at. And so like, if we pull it all down and then nothing happens for 3 weeks, that'd be really frustrating because we put so much work to put it up there. So I don't want to put it all down and then just sit there with nothing going on. I want it to be pulled down because people are going to be moving and people are going to be doing things. But everybody loves it. Everyone that's come in has really liked it. I had some people come in and I had back-to-back appointments. I think it was last weekend, and folks were coming, and then they messaged me and they said that, our neighbors and stuff heard that we're coming. Can we come too? And we were like, yeah. And then they were like, and then there's some more people, and then there's some more. And then people got out. We had Amy Wall and I think it was Don Millward in there running for school committee, and they came in with some of their people to check things out, and that was really cool. I had a tour today. At 3:00 that I did for somebody that lives on Pleasant Street, and they really liked it. And they had heard about it online and sent their email. So everybody that comes really likes it, and they just it just looks so good. I mean, I like Jamie's painting is one of my favorites, but that one that Anne Marie did that's in the corner that's purple, and then the one to the left of it that's on the back wall, those two are awesome. Just really awesome. And looking at that stuff, and of course I've been to other shows, especially in the last couple months. And it's right up there with a lot of that stuff. So like I said, I'm excited for it all, to the point where, I want to show it to more people and leave it up as long as possible. But if we're going to get floors and we're going to get lights, I'll gladly take it down and then set it back up.
I just want to echo, as someone who did come to see the show, it really is incredible. And, my family came with me, and, we were there, Chris, you were there with us. We were probably there for close to an hour, which is a pretty long attention span for, small children. So it really is incredible. Joy, your work was terrific as well. And we really enjoyed that. It was just great to be there and to see stuff on the walls, to see art there. And, it felt like the world was getting a little bit back to normal to be there and to, just, be part of that environment and the joy that the artwork brought. So really great job. And I think if we have the time to leave it up, and it sounds like we have the interest in people seeing it, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, it looks great. Today, going into what I call the Joy Studio, your room there, Joy. There's something on the left that's kind of like Gothic. It's like a black and white thing. The guy that came today to see the show, he sat there and stared at that thing for like 10 minutes. He's like, I really like this. And I was like, well, I'm glad you like it. And I started showing him some other stuff. He's like, just give me a couple minutes. I got to look at this longer. And I was like, all right, I'll be out of your way. I'll be over here drinking a water. Just let me know when you're ready for the narration to continue.
Great.
And we went through. Well, that's all we have. So unless anybody has any objections, we can make motions and that sort of thing. Donna?
I was just going to add one more thing.
Yeah.
I'll put in a plug for my son. He's moved into 103 Albion Street. Hobby Bunker is his business.
Oh, I didn't
So
realize that was your son,
he's a
Donna.
neighbor now.
He actually offered to
so
help us with
exciting.
something too.
That's
We-
the old LAR building.
Gotcha.
That's
Congratulations.
great, Donna. Good luck to him.
Well, and great news for him because, what was it on the other side of the street that was there forever? The AAA
Yeah.
hobby
The
shop.
hobby, I guess there was a hobby store there for many
Oh,
years.
there was.
Yeah, that was before we moved to Wakefield.
Your big dog mess and your like fart machines and like all the little gag gifts and balsa wood and everything. I read about that in the paper. That's so exciting. That's your son.
That's my son.
Oh,
Matt
I'm glad
Murphy.
to go down and see it.
Maybe we can incorporate something with him, in one of our future events.
Absolutely. Yep.
If not just informationally, just letting people know what's in the district and that sort of thing.
Right.
He was super kind. We were talking about moving some stuff. We never ended up doing
Right.
it, but we needed help, and he offered to help us and offered us his trailer and some other stuff. Like I said, we never ended up doing it, but we needed help, and he answered the call. And I imagine
Yeah,
if
no,
we need
he's
help
good.
in the
Like he's
future-
like I say, he's got a trailer and a big truck. So if you need stuff moved, he's be right down the street now.
Awesome.
That's such a great addition to Albion. So, I mean, when you think about kind of like the, kind of the creative economy that we're trying to create for that corridor, it's such a
Exactly.
nice fit. It's really terrific.
And AAA was a forever landmark in Wakefield as a hobby shop. And I'm glad that he like picked it up and went with that.
He's been in Malden for 22 years. So he had to leave Malden because they were tearing the building down for, building condos. So that's why he moved to Wakefield. So
Nice.
he's right next to Kid Casso.
I'm gonna have to go meet him.
Go ahead, introduce yourself.
I will.
Well, thanks, Chris, for all the work that you've done for the shows
Yes.
and for everything. The contractors and everything. We all appreciate it.
Cool. No problem. And like I said, as soon as I find out when the sign's going to go up, what the dates are and that sort of stuff, I'm definitely not going to keep it a secret. I bet when we do that, we'll take pictures of, whoever's available, whatever. I'll take pictures as we're doing it. But that the item most likely will take a picture. We may make a front page for that, just saying, hey, the sign's now finally being installed. And then the next little hook will just be getting the lights on it. But, we're way down the road and yeah, it's going to look good.
Yeah, great.
Nice.
So I guess, someone want to formally make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Enjoy seconding. All right. Everybody says, all right, we're going to adjourn.
Okay,
All right. I'll talk to you all soon. As usual, if you need to, give me a call.
All right.
okay, great.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Have a good night, everyone.
Good
Have a good
night.
night.